Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's RJ Sitch, ChicagoCashFlowProperties.com, your source for real estate investing information and wholesale deals. I want to make a video because recently I've been putting together a course / coaching program, and I really wanted to focus what is the biggest and main thing for people to do, and that's to get your first deal, to stick with something until you get your first deal. That is highly important. That is the only thing you should be focusing on, and ignoring, the tales of closing and making $50,000 on a deal. Like, that's part of it, but it's also a distraction from doing what you need to do to get a deal done. So I'm going to share the story of my first wholesale deal. Now, it's back in 2009. It's about September. I had gone to a wholesaling seminar in March, and I was doing leasing. I was renting out apartments, and I just really didn't know how to begin, where to begin. Like everyone else, I have too much information. I'm info overloaded. So I spun wheels, didn't do anything until, I was talking about it, and then my family members or whatever and loved ones were like, just do it. Just get your ass out there and do it. So what did I do? I had no properties, I had no connections, I wasn't even aware of how to estimate a house. But I did buy an e-course, cost me about $500, and believe me, it was worth it, where it taught you kind of just like talk to other people. So for about a month or so, I was going to networking events, I was going to seminars, I was going to every website I can, BiggerPockets, RealEstateInvestor.com, Facebook, Craigslist, and just emailing anyone that I thought was an investor in Chicago saying, hey, I exist and I want to help you with your business. Let me sell your properties, please. And I didn't submit some sort of dinky ass option flex contract. That shit's annoying, wholesalers. Just be honest. Say, let me help you with it, okay? And I had talked to anywhere between 15 to 30 different people, where finally one guy who's an investor from California was virtually investing in Chicago was saying, make a list of what you can do. So I made up a list of all the things I found in the e-course and some of the social media stuff that I knew leading up to that point. Now, by now, a month or so had gone by. When I started really trying this was like in August or whatever. So now it's September, and finally, I get a few properties thrown my way. And I did the first thing you would normally do. I got the properties. I started doing some basic guerrilla marketing for them. And I tried, everything under the sun to sell them, put signs around the property, make a little buyer's list and whatnot. But I thought after 2 weeks I had maybe shown it to maybe about 4 or 5 different investors, and finally I get a call from a guy in Atlanta who saw my ad online and forwarded it to his mom, who had just inherited, a few $100,000 and was looking to buy. I immediately set an appointment with her, and we met at the property. But by now, I had gone from knowing nothing to knowing at least a few words after listening to the other investors tell me what they saw at the property. Luckily, her dad was a contractor, and I was smart enough to get an agent that I knew to send me over comps. I learned to do comps from the e-course, exactly how to do it. So the next thing you know, we have an agreement. I had a deposit check written out to my partner's holding company or whatever company, and we closed in about it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and that was it. Now, it seems like, well, that was easy because blah blah blah, but no, if you really learn more, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but that investor that sent me the deal from California, he was maybe the 3rd or 4th person that I tried working with, and the first 2 ended up being like scammy, very scammy guys that I wouldn't recommend them, trust them. I wouldn't give them, you know, a penny or anything, because they'd take it and never give it back. So it just was a learning curve. It took me almost, you know, 2.5 months to really get my first deal. I made $2,000. $2,000's not a lot. My investor who I worked with, I think he probably pocketed about $8,000 on that deal. And everything was set up for me to do the deal. Like, he had the agent, he had the attorney, all I had to do was market. But once I was in there, I asked a million questions. I was like, well, why do you do this? How do you do that? How do you sign this? How do you sign that? And lo and behold, that was my first deal. I ended up selling that investor another property, and they love it. They're cash flowing well. They bought it at a great price. They were just, you know, those beginning of the REOs that were being sold off like hotcakes a few years ago. So I don't think we get the prices again. It was really, really low for, you know, fairly decent property. But in any event, you know, I have a link in my blog on the 5 lessons I learned from that experience that I think you would benefit a lot from. So in any event, that's my story. I want you to know it. I want you to learn it. And, you know, it ain't about $20,000, $30,000 a deal, but $2,000 could feel like that because it's your first deal. So if you have any cool stories about your first deal, feel free to post that on our little blog comment section, or hit us up as we are rolling out a training / coaching program for the Chicago area on wholesaling and getting your first deal done. Homes? I'm just playing. In any event, later.